DUI Guide, Chapter 6, How Can the Charter be Used to Win Your DUI Case? Now, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms is an incredibly important document. It's incredibly important in your DUI case, and it's something that lawyers lean on all the time. So I think it deserves a few minutes of dedicated explanation so you really understand how powerful and how great this document can be for your DUI case. So first, some context. What is the Charter of Rights and Freedoms? Now, the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, known as the Charter, sets out those rights and freedoms that Canadians believe are necessary for a free and democratic society. Now, this Charter is one part of the Canadian Constitution, and the Constitution is a set of laws containing basic rules about how Canada operates. That leads the question of how can the Charter of Rights and Freedoms be used to fight my DUI case? Now, the Charter is incredibly important because it protects basic rights and freedoms essential to keeping Canada a free and democratic society. Now, in the context of a criminal charge, this is important because the Charter ensures that the government or anyone acting on its behalf doesn't take away or interfere with your rights or freedoms in an unreasonable way. And these aren't just words. These words have real power and real meaning. What the Charter is, think of it like a rule book by which everyone acting on behalf of the government, including the police, including the Crown that's going to be prosecuting your case, these are rules that they must follow. And these rules are not optional. If these rules are not followed in the context of your DUI charge, then your charges may get withdrawn. Now, a Charter has 34 sections, and not every section has applicability to a criminal charge, but the ones that do have been interpreted by the courts since the early 1980s when the Charter was added to the Constitution. And there have been thousands and thousands of cases that have gone to court to interpret the meaning of the Charter. And these court rulings, what they do is they effectively, they flesh out in more detail the rules that the police and the Crown that they must follow on how they conduct their case against you. Now, in theory, that sounds easy, right? A court makes a ruling and the police and the Crowns read those cases, which are effectively the rules on how they have to do their job. But we're all human, okay? And we all make mistakes, including the police and including the Crowns. But when they make a mistake, that mistake, if it breaches your charter right, well, guess what? That mistake may result in your case getting thrown out, okay? And if that happens, you walk away as if nothing has happened. So let me give you some examples of Charter and rights and freedom defenses in DUI cases. And there's a lot of them. I'm just going to cover a few. And again, lawyers rely heavily on the Charter for DUI defenses. And here are some examples. Example number one, were there reasonable and probable grounds upon which the police arrested you? Now, the police, they can only arrest someone if they, in fact, have committed a crime or were in the process of committing a crime. And if a lawyer can establish that there were no reasonable and probable grounds for the arrest, well, then the DUI charge would get withdrawn. Example number two, were you given your right to speak with a lawyer? And it is very clear that you have the right to speak with a lawyer, but your rights regarding a lawyer, they go much, much deeper than just the right to speak with a lawyer. You have a right to speak to a lawyer of your own choice. So if the police force you to talk to a lawyer, but not the lawyer of your choice, well, guess what? The police may have breached your charter right. You have a right to speak to your lawyer in privacy. So if the police did not provide an environment where your conversation was really genuinely private, then the police may have breached your charter rights. And there are more charter rules in regards to cancel, and the police simply must follow those rules. And if they don't, it may be possible to get your DUI charges withdrawn. And finally, is your DUI case proceeding to trial in a reasonable period of time? Now, the Charter recognizes that you have a right to have your case heard at a trial in a reasonable period of time. And the longer a case drags on, not only does the uncertainty cause real stress in your life, the evidence surrounding your case may actually get dated. And that may cause harm to you being able to mount a proper legal defense if that evidence gets dated. And for these reasons, The charter requires that your case proceeds to trial within a reasonable period of time. And if your case drags beyond those time limits, it may be possible to get your case withdrawn. And there's a whole bunch of other charter defenses that are really incredibly important. And while it may seem very detailed, this is what matters. Getting into the details of your case, getting into the evidence of your case is absolutely critical to find if there are any breaches of your charter rights. Because if there is a breach of your charter rights, then guess what? That may be the reasonable doubt you need to actually get your case withdrawn or beating your DUI charge completely.